It's time for you to die. Seems dramatic, doesn't it? It seems a bit fucking crazy thing to say. And we kind of hinted on it yesterday. We kind of touched base yesterday on this concept. But today marks day 379. Even to say that number sounds fucking crazy. But day 379 of chasing greatness daily. I have done this every day. Every fucking day for 379 days. That's 3 blocks of 126 days I have done this. And within that, the bare minimum requirement on that is that I went for a 45-minute weighted walk. I did a 45-minute weighted workout. I ate an animal-based diet, meaning meat and fruit. I drank 4 litres of water, and I took a daily photo. I filmed a podcast, and I posted it to social media. Every fucking day for 379 days. Look, there are more things that I've added on as I've progressed into new phases, as I've progressed in this process, as I've learnt more, elevated up, upgraded, all that kind of stuff. But those things are the foundations of what I have done every fucking day. I've shared every step of this journey, and I'm going to continue sharing this journey. But the version of me that began this process 379 days ago, that version of me is long fucking dead. He had to die, in fact. I had to murder him because, well, I couldn't get here otherwise. That version of me back there was fucking depressed, was horrendously overweight, was critically ashamed of where he'd let himself get to. He had man tits, he had trouble sleeping, he was the height of hypocrisy, he was, if life gets hard, eat your feelings. He was all the things. He was failing his family. He was, well, downright ashamed of the man that he was. He was letting down his daughter, his son, his wife. And he didn't understand how he'd gotten to this point, how he'd ended up here. Looking at that man in the mirror going, fuck, who am I? He didn't understand any of that. And so he made a decision. I made a decision. That version of me made a decision that this was not good enough. That this was unacceptable. And then this had to end. And so he made a decision to die. Not literally, not actually end it all, but to end that version he was, that I was, because I could not continue living that way. And for me, the catalyst was a multitude. I kept having moments that forced me to dip in a little bit. You know, I'd have moments where I'd look in the mirror and be like, fuck, what the fuck are you doing? I had moments where my daughter would look at me and go, Daddy, why are your boobs bigger than Mummy's? I had moments where I couldn't play with my children because I was so out of shape. I had moments where I was like, who am I to give advice? Who am I to lead my children? Who am I to tell them not to do the things that they want if they're bad for them? If that's all I fucking do too. Who am I to try and parent my children when I can't even parent myself? I can't even act like a fucking adult and not choose things that are bad for me. Who am I to give advice on health and nutrition and fitness and exercise if I can't even control my own cravings? I had all these moments. Who am I to be, with my wife if I'm ashamed to take off my fucking t-shirt? Who am I to try and lead my family, to be the provider, to be the protector, if I can't even look after my own body, look after myself, let alone look after them? Everything about me and my life and where I was fundamentally unacceptable. And yet, I hadn't made the hard decision to actually change, to actually burn the boats, to leave no other option but to succeed. I dabbled in it a few times, more than a few times, at least 4 times at the start of 2024. Those January goals, I was like, this is it. Now things are going to fucking change. And that was a lie. Did for a couple of weeks, and then who knows what fucking stupid, piss-poor excuses I threw up as to why I stopped. And I tried again. I got 2 weeks that time. And I'm like, shit, it's getting worse. The follow-through's getting worse. And then the trend continued, and I tried again, and it was like 1 week. And I'm like, fuck me. This cannot continue. But the reason why I couldn't break through, the reason why I would go for good for a couple of weeks and then drop, was I was still fundamentally that man. I was still the man who had gotten into that situation. I still hadn't changed who I was on the inside. I hadn't changed my identity. And I couldn't change until I changed my identity. And neither can you. You cannot become the man that you want to be until you change your identity. Until you kill the version of you that has brought you this far. And I know it sounds extreme. I know it sounds full on. But this is why you keep failing. Because you are fundamentally still the same guy. You are still holding on to that version of you that got you to this place. But if you aren't happy with this place, if you aren't happy with this version, if you aren't happy with where you're at, well, you can't keep making those same choices. You can't keep living as that same version. You can't keep having those same thoughts and actions and habits, because you will just keep getting the same results. It's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. So you have to end that version of you. And that's not going to happen all of a sudden. You're not just going to be like, well, I'm sick of this version. Whoom, bam. Now I'm this version. Now I'm the greatest version of me. No. That's not what's going to happen. But you have to come to terms with who you used to be didn't serve you. So you cannot continue being who you used to be. You must become someone better. You must become someone greater. And that iteration isn't going to be the final iteration either. When I started this 12 months ago, I literally just started, as I described, with the physical component. That's it. That's all I was focusing on. All I was focusing on was nailing those habits, being consistent with those habits, building those habits and ingraining them. You want to know why it's 126 days? Why once you get past the first 6 weeks, you go into 126 days? Because it takes 126 days to replace a negative habit with a positive habit. To fully ingrain those neuro pathways, this is who I am as a man. So no, you're not going to be there on day 1. You're not going to be there on day 60. You're not going to be there on day 90. It takes 126 days to do that. That's why I think most of those 90-day challenges, 60-day challenges, 30-day challenges don't work. They don't create long-lasting change because you didn't ingrain it into you. You didn't become this new version of you. We need to remember that there is no stagnation. There is either growing or dying. There is nothing in between. So we must continue to evolve. We must continue to elevate. We must continue to push forward to become the greatest version of ourselves. And that does start with ourselves. It starts with in here, who we are fundamentally as a person, how we identify, how we think of ourselves. You know, if you think of yourself, do you go, I'm a strong, fit, healthy man? No? Okay, well, we need to fix that. We need to fix that. Do you go, I'm a man of my word? No? Okay, that's a problem too. Do you go, I'm confident that I can handle anything that's thrown my way? No? Okay, we need to work on that. And it starts with the fitness. We create discipline through fitness. That is fundamentally what chasing greatness does. And through the creation of discipline, we become the greatest version of ourselves. It unlocks everything else that we are wanting from this life. It unlocks all the potential that we are seeking. That's how we get there. That's how we make a change. That's how we progress forward. Because we create discipline through fitness. But you have to let go of the identity that got you to this point. You have to say goodbye. You have to give them a Viking funeral, push them out to sea and set them on fire. They cannot exist anymore. You have to burn the motherfucking boats. You have to remove all options to return to who you were so that you can be who you were meant to be. And then you level up again, and then you level up again, and then you level up again. And each time you create a new iteration of you. Each time you create a new version of you, you set new standards. And as I said, you won't be able to fathom what will be possible down the track. You won't be able to fathom who you will become down the line because you haven't become that man yet. You haven't even become the man that can contemplate that yet. But all you need to go and do right now is decide that you are going to let go of the habits, the thoughts, and the actions that have created this reality. Because they do create this reality. What you think about, what you do, and what you do daily is what has determined your life. And if you're not happy with it, that's the greatest gift of all. Because, well, you're in fucking control. As I just said, your thoughts, your habits, and your actions dictate your life. You're in fucking control. So take control. Identify the parts of you that don't serve you and systematically remove them. Become a better version of yourself. And unfortunately, this isn't like surgery, though. It's not like a nip and tuck and here we go. You've pulled that part of you out and now we're good to go. No. It happens slowly, drip fed, over time, bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. But you make that decision every single day. It starts with that first decision that I am going to change. I'm going to become a different version of myself. I'm going to identify as the greatest version of myself. I've had this discussion before. It's like those bracelets or wristbands that you wear, and it's like, what would Jesus do, or what would Chuck Norris do, or whatever the fuck you choose. In this case, I want you to ask, what would the greatest version of me do? How do you identify yourself? What would that version of you do? Would they make that choice? Would they drink that beer? Would they have that pizza? Would they have that ice cream? Would they skip that workout? Would they sleep in? What would they do? What would the greatest version of you do? Start to identify as that person. and bit by bit by bit by bit, like Chinese water torture, drip, 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 you will become that man. But you have to end that version of you. You have to let them die with every drip. You have to say goodbye to them and step into who you're going to be. You have to take back control of that. And as I said, it starts with, well, doing it daily. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in an instant. It's not going to be a sudden thing that you wake up and be that man. No. What is going to happen is that you identify the habits and, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, chasing greatness is those first 5 habits to build discipline through fitness. And for the 6 weeks of the foundational level of chasing greatness, which is all we need to focus on. That's all we care about. That's all we're going to do. We don't even think about anything else. All we're going to do for those foundational 6 weeks is go, I am going to nail these 5 things every fucking day. I don't care how perfect they are. I don't care how good they are. I don't care if they look like dog shit or they're the greatest thing you've ever done. I don't care. All I care about is that you build that habit. At the end of the day, you ask the question, did it get done? Yes, no. Really simple, black and white. Did it get done? Yes, no. And the answer needs to be a fucking resounding yes, it did. Fantastic. You won that day. Mark it off on the calendar. And I mean that. I mean that literally. Get a fucking calendar that you hang on your wall or a piece of paper or whatever the fuck it is, and you mark it off. And your only job right now to build the man that you want to build, to become a disciplined man, to build discipline through fitness, your only fucking job right here, right now, is to make sure that that chain of crosses on the calendar does not break. That is your only job. That is all that is required. That every fucking day you complete those 5 habits. Good, bad, or ugly, you complete them. That they get done. That you tick them off your list. That I have built momentum. I have built habit. I have built credibility that I am a man who will get this shit done. We are looking for consistency. We are looking for momentum. We are looking for follow through. We will optimize later. We will get to the other side of it later. Right now, all we are caring about is the consistency. That you don't fucking miss. Because what would the greatest version of you do? What would he do? He wouldn't fucking miss. He would do that work that is required. And that is all we need to do. That's what's required. That we acknowledge that we are saying goodbye to this version of us, because this version of us didn't serve us. Because you wouldn't be here otherwise. You wouldn't be ashamed of where you are right now. You wouldn't be going, fuck, how do I change? How do I break free of this pattern? You wouldn't be asking these questions if what you were doing was working. So you say goodbye to the old version of you. And then to create the new version, to build discipline through fitness, all we are focusing on is every day putting a cross on that calendar that I got the work done. Rain, hail, or shine, good, bad, or ugly, it got fucking done. And it does not need to be executed perfectly. All it needs to be is it got done. It's just a foundation level. We're just building foundations here. That is all we are caring about, is building the foundation level to be the greatest version of you. After that, we can then optimize. After that, we can refine. After that, we can truly step into becoming the greatest version of you. But we've got to start with letting go of who you are. Be excited and energized about becoming the new version of you. And then just winning the fucking day. Black and white. Simple as fuck. Winning the day over and over and over again. This This is how you start chasing greatness. So my question for you is, my friend, are you ready to chase your greatness? Are you ready to let go of the old you and become the greatest version of you? If the answer is yes, then click the link in my bio. Join Chasing Greatness Daily today. Let's see who you can be if you go all in. If you let go of the old you, you release those old habits, thoughts, and actions, and you step into becoming the most powerful version of you. Let's discover what your greatness is. Let's discover and build your greatness. Let's build discipline through fitness. So I cannot wait to see you there. So click that link in my bio, and I'll talk to you real soon.